Hi, fellow traders. Hope everybody had a good day today. Another frustrating day for me with internet issues and actually lost power for a couple hours, all doing because of the storms we've had. We've had 2 days of storms come through, and they've been sporadic. They would come through and it'll dry up, get pretty, and then we'll have another storm come through. But when they come, they bring heat. So it's been an interesting couple of days, but I think we're through it now, and I hope to have a normal Wednesday for a change. But today, one of the tickers on my watch, PRAH, and it was the one I decided to trade. I guess it set up first. Usually that's what I go by, whichever one sets up first. And all the ones on my watch are gonna have the ability to give me a good trade. But whichever one sets up first, a lot of times that's the one I would go and trade. And that's what I did with PRAH. And I got short here. Now this is going to be a 5-minute open range breakdown trade. But whenever I have a level of resistance right here, like this 45.40, well, it was support, but it lost it. This candle opened below it, and it was looking, weak. I was seeing a lot of sellers versus buyers, and it was safe for me to take it, a little bit early before it breaks the 15-minute, opening range low. So I got in here, which I thought was a pretty awesome entry here at 45.35. Got a nice little wash initially down. I took some off at 45, which was about halfway to where my initial target was. This candle opened up, and I almost added back to it, but I didn't. I just kind of waited to see if this thing was going to continue to move down, and it fought and fought. And once it came up, I wasn't going to let it go past break even. So I'm in this thing 1,200 shares. That's the most I could take on it. I'm only using up about 80% of my buying power. So 1,200 shares was all I could really take. And I took half of it off here. And then I took the other half off, up here. On these initial moves, on the first solid move, I'm going to go ahead and take half. Because a lot of times these moves can turn around on a dime. And I like to book at least, half of it on that first cover. And if I have to break the other two up, I can do those in halves. I could have done 300 and 300 or whatever, but I didn't. And when it got to break even, I went ahead and took it off, because I knew if this thing didn't close above it, I'm right up on the VWAP, so I've got another opportunity to enter. And sure enough, it gave me another opportunity to enter. And I got in right here, right under the VWAP. I waited for it to, it tested it, and VWAP held, and this was a confirmation. It tried to push above it, and then we lost it. And that was my confirmation candles. So when this candle opened, I tried to catch it as close to VWAP as possible. And, I got in here at right at 45.28 is where I got in. Now, the whole time I'm thinking, I'm typing this stuff in the chat room, and, I'm thinking that everybody's seeing it. Well, come to find out, chat room's frozen. And I'm typing all of this in, but it's not going anywhere because I'm not connected to Omnovia. More of these stupid internet issues. Seems like if anything gets affected, Omnovia does. Or if it gets disconnected, it won't reconnect. It'll just be like I'm still there, but I'm actually not. And that's kind of what happened. So I didn't get to call this trade out in chat, or chat didn't see my call outs. So you really kind of missed this. And this was a textbook, VWAP fail. So I got in here, took the first profit on this wash. Anytime I get a nice wash halfway to my target, I'm going to go ahead and take some off. So I took 300 here. I mean, not 300, 400 here. And I took another 400 here at this this level here, 44.39 was really my ultimate target. So I took 400 off here, and I still have 400 shares left. And I was going to look to see if we could claim this level here. And that's really what I like to do. I'll leave some on, but I won't let it get that much further away from my initial target. And that's kind of what happened here. Took some here, took some here. And this level here, if it reclaimed this level, I was going to take it off. I wasn't going to use the 9 for this because I was already at my ultimate target. The 9 really wasn't closing in like I wanted it to. So a close and a reclaim of this level is what made me take this off here. I wanted to make sure I was able to maximize this whole move, and it actually continued to fade a little bit before we got this nice reversal back up to VWAP. But I wasn't watching it anymore then. I was my power was already out. But as soon as I got out of this trade, that's when I went and jumped on MYL because I was looking at it. Because this was on my list, my watch list from the morning, and I missed this short, which I was pretty bummed about. But I missed this short. This was stress-free right off the VWAP. And it failed to push it. Nice, easy short. Never would have been red on this trade. All the way down to this level. Gave me, I don't know. I know this thing faded fast, so I may not have taken profit here. I may have just waited to see just what it would do. But I missed that move, and so I was looking for the bounce. But by then I was looking at this other trade, so all I could do is just kind of watch this. So what I was waiting for was this to test VWAP because I was looking for it to fail VWAP. You had the VWAP here. You had the red to green line, which is yesterday's close here. You had the 20. And then we had the 9 up here. I had this level of support. And then I had the 200. So it would seem kind of idiotic for me to trade this as a VWAP fade. But for some reason I saw this and thought that this was going to, it failed to push the VWAP. So we will get, some selling pressure and probably sell off, and I would get this level here. It did not work. But as soon as I got in this thing, I got in right here under this level at 42.55 is where I got in. And as soon as I got in and I started to look, this candle printed, it sold off a little bit, and it was like at 42.51, and then the power went out. Everything went off. And I've got a power supply that will keep my computer powered up for a couple minutes. But when the power goes out, the internet goes out. And because my router is powered, so it went out. So I probably need to have a power supply on my router. That's probably the next thing I need to do. But it went out, so I immediately got on my phone and got into my account and sold it. covered it. Now, immediately I did that. I didn't care where it was or what it was doing. I will not make the mistake ever again of trying to manage a trade on my phone. Unless it has to be a more of an emergency, all I want to do on my phone is to be able to get out of a position. Sitting there trying to manage it and watch it doesn't make sense. So as soon as I got in, I did a market order and got out. 42.68 was where it filled me. So I lost 13 cents on this deal. And then come to find out, it just ran on up. So I would have gotten stopped out anyway. So actually, this little fiasco saved me about 13 cents. But the good thing is I wasn't in full size, because when you have something set up like this and you have this level and the 200 here, and you still have a 9 down here, you don't want to. Number one, I was shorting on support, which was stupid. That I shouldn't have done. I should have waited till that support became resistance and then short into that resistance. So this is one of the rules that I broke on this and ended up, costing me. But because I did that, because I recognized that this was a more risky trade, I only went in 800 shares on this versus, going in all 1,200. But that kind of helped me some. So my loss wasn't that bad. It was bad enough, but I could deal with that. But later on, I still had this up. I usually keep the charts of my morning watch list up because I'm only watching one, no more than two reversal candidates, after my watch list, phase, after the morning goes out. So I was watching this and I was watching this ramp up. And so I called out, a possible reversal in chat on this. So I kind of jumped in a little bit early here. And my intention was to get in here at 44.38, 44.40, and then add if this tested. But for some reason, I got in at 1,200 shares. And, and this would have been fine if I would have had, if this was last week when I had, more buying power. I could have added more up here and been in full size. But 1,200 is full size for me right now on a $40 stop. And I went in all 1,200 and I couldn't add up here like I wanted to. And when this thing came down, and it was just fighting. I mean, you could tell this stock was being manipulated. And you don't see this every day. I mean, you see it often enough, but you don't see it every day. You had so much selling pressure, but buyers just kept coming out of nowhere. I mean, and all of these prints would go through in time and sales, and there would be nothing you would see on level 2. Nothing. You would just see all of these orders going through, and I wouldn't even see an order for 40. For instance, we had a lot of orders going through, I think at 44, 34, 33. I didn't even see 33 anywhere on here. But 33, 34, there were like thousands of shares being traded at those prices. So that was just a dark pool. A dark pool of orders that were just, these market makers were pulling out of nowhere. And then when it hit the 9, and somebody with a 9 moving average algorithm, came in and just worked this thing. So this thing was getting worked from all angles. But I knew once these buyers got exhausted, this thing was gonna tank. I thought it would tank a lot further than it did. But I had my brother-in-law lives in North Carolina, and he works as an accountant. And he has this buddy who runs a mutual fund store, and he's a hedge fund trade. He manages hedge funds. He's done everything. But he wanted to meet me. He was so adamant about meeting me because my brother-in-law told him about me. And so one weekend I was up there, and he showed me some stuff that blew my mind. These guys, their job, and you may not believe it or not, there may be some, well experienced traders who may not believe me, but this guy says their number one job is to take out us emotional retail traders. And he's like, and I'm going to show you how we do it. And, he's like, the reason why I wanted to meet you so bad was because I wanted to show you these things. I like your brother-in-law, and he speaks very highly of you, and you seem like a pretty good guy. And I mean, we hung out, played golf, just hit it off, and he just showed me all of these things. So, when you get to these moving averages, they're buyers and sellers sitting at this moving average. They're retail traders that trade off of the 9. They're retail traders that trade off the 20. We don't know it because we haven't been taught that. We've been taught the way we've been taught. But there are other educators out there that teach trading off the 20, using the 20 as a guide, using VWAP as a guide. I mean, they won't trade off anything else. And so they develop these algorithms when they realize that these computers look for patterns. And when they see patterns of buyers and sellers coming in at these different points, it's easy to come up with something to take us out because we're trading on emotion. They're not. And, that's what I learned. And so when I saw this, I knew what was happening. I was pretty confident that it wasn't going to go over this. That's why you didn't see me budge when it ran up to 55. All I was saying was, damn, I wish I had some buying power to add more shares because this thing is going to fall. And I really was looking for, when this thing hit the 20, and I mentioned it in chat, I'm looking for the 20 to hold more sellers so that it can take out these buyers and sell it off. And here we were starting to run out. Normally you'll see the 20 come up and meet the 9, and then you'll see this. They started running out of buyers, right in here. That's when the buyers started getting exhausted. You see the volume dropped, and then we started to get this fade. But I was really looking for a bigger fade than this. And I was able to cover some here, cover some here. This was where I wanted to take profit first. But, all of this mess just got me, out of sync. I would have loved to have this cover back to let it ride, down to here. Because if this was still working, I'd have just been late going to pick up my son. He could have waited and talked to his friends, but this would have been nice to catch this 30 cents down. But whenever I cover early, it takes away my ability to really let something run. Yeah, I could have taken 200 shares off here and let 200 run, but a lot of times if it doesn't run, I just wasted commissions. And I don't really care about commissions a lot, but this is just stupid. If I just split that in half just to get 30 cents. To me, that doesn't really make any sense. If I had a whole 400 shares, yeah, 400 times 30 cents, that's 120 bucks. I can swallow that. But I wouldn't risk that for like 50 bucks, in this case. But that was my day. I really feel good about it. It's not explosive days like I had last week. Things are pretty much back to, normal for me. But then again, I am trading with one third of what I had at the end of the end of last year. I mean, at the end of last week. I've got just about one third of what I had in my account then. So, that's just the way it has to be for right now. But if I can keep grinding days out like this, then, I'm going to be fine. Not going to worry about that. So, tomorrow I do the Warrior Pro class. So I probably won't do a recap tomorrow. I usually don't because I spend most of my time working with those guys, and the class usually runs over. So it'll probably be Thursday. And Thursday, I'm planning on doing the one live on Ticker TV. I'm going to give it a shot, see how it works, see if everything comes together, if it records so that I can upload it to YouTube and all of that good stuff. So Thursday and Friday, I'll probably be messing with Ticker TV. So if you signed up, you should get something saying I'm going live. I'm looking to do it at 7 o'clock both days, but Friday is going to depend on how Thursday goes. So, we'll see. But if you haven't, go to Ticker TV. It's under Average Joe Trader. Over there, you put the E in. It's not like my email where you drop the E. So just Average Joe Trader. It's ticker.tv/Average Joe Trader. You should be able to get to it. And if you follow that channel, then you should be able to get the emails saying when I'm going live. But that's it for me. I'm done. I'm going to relax the rest of the day and see if I can enjoy a movie or two. But we'll see everybody tomorrow in chat.